Welcome back to another episode of Midnight Mayhem. This is a very special episode. We are reviewing Terrifier, one of me and Bobby's.
Close.
Oh, that's a clown
Close.
movie, huh? Terrified, not Terrifier. In Spanish, it translates to Terrifier.
What is its Spanish title?
Aterrados.
I like that.
Badass.
That was sexy as hell. All right, but before we get into it, let's go ahead and start off with our introductions as usual.
I'm Bobby and I love horror.
I'm Leonardo Movies.
And I'm Raymond, the other guy.
And so I'm not gonna lie, I didn't find this movie on my own originally. I found it because of Foundflix. They did the Ending Explains. Pop screenshot here.
I gotta add it.
When I used to work a lot. When I worked a lot at Graveyard, I would just bookmark movies that I needed to watch or I wanted to watch, and I would go off of channels that I enjoyed. And Foundflix was like, "This is a good movie, check it out." Stopped watching the video, and then maybe a year later, I watched it, and I was like, "All right, it's time."
Start the video, and it's like, "This is a good movie, you should watch." And you're like,
Yeah.
"Pause." All right, that's good enough for me.
That was the closest thing to happen to that this year or last year would have been Talk to Me. Everyone was
Good,
like,
yeah.
"Good movie, check it out, highly recommend." I was like,
Don't
"Pause."
watch anything on it.
I was like, "Pause, go watch it." So that's how I discovered it. But then later on, when Leo and I were just talking about horror on our free time before we started the channel, he was like, "You seen this?" I was like, "Yeah, it was good."
I was like, "You seen it, dude?
Yeah.
It's so good."
Yeah. So then it was an
I
Argentina.
didn't see it. We watched it together.
He wasn't invited to the watch party.
They didn't invite me.
No, this was originally a Shudder exclusive, but I'm not sure if it's streaming on anything right now.
A lot of places.
No,
It is?
last time I checked, it's still Shudder.
I mean,
still Shudder.
it's a Shudder original, but you can watch it with
It was-
premium subscription
it
on
was-
Amazon Prime,
yeah.
AMC Plus.
But it was on Amazon Prime for a little while. A couple years back, it was on Amazon Prime for just a little while.
Oh no, it's a badass movie. I say check it out. That's my
Really good, it's really
recommendation.
good.
So, well,
Now,
go for
obviously, it is a Spanish film, so
it. You gotta read.
you got to read.
You gotta read,
But
man.
some of the best horror movies I've seen recently, at least within the past 10 years, have been foreign films.
Foreign
yeah.
films.
So it's
Yeah.
and obviously you can watch remakes or dubs, but it's not. It doesn't. It takes away from the movie.
Yeah, it's funny because I said talk to me and talk to me is a foreign film.
Technically, it's a foreign film, yeah.
Yeah, that was badass.
Oh, yeah, it says it's available on AMC Plus, YouTube with the Primetime subscription,
Oh,
Amazon Prime premium subscription, Vudu for $3, Google Play for $4, Apple TV $4.
So
You
you're
gotta
plenty of places
rent
where
it,
you
you
can find
gotta
it.
rent
So,
You gotta rent it.
but
we
American
did,
title,
legally.
Terrified. Oh, yeah. And then so go ahead. I'll let you guys talk.
all right. So, I've seen it. I liked it. Bobby's seen it. He liked it.
How'd you come across it?
Pretty much I was just I saw it was a trailer because on YouTube I'm subscribed to this Argentinian film fest
Mhm.
thing, and that year that it came out they were promoting it on the film festival, and it just came up. I was like, oh, I wonder what films are on this year's film festival, and this was one of them. And I saw the trailer and I was like, this looks terrifying, and it's from Argentina, so I
Yeah,
really want
it's
to see it.
cool.
Yeah,
And then
gotta
obviously
support your people.
support them somehow. And then the trailer, the movie came out. It kind of left, and then I just kind of forgot about it until it was around the same time we were sharing a Shudder account.
Yeah.
And then I found it on there, and I was like, oh wow, this is the movie that I want to see. So I watched it, nothing, and I was like, oh my, this is terrifying, dude.
Yeah.
Really.
Did you watch it before bed, or were you just it's
I
the middle
watched
of the day,
it. No,
I'm gonna watch the movie?
right before bed.
Since you bring that
Right,
up,
you didn't-
I
you didn't go to bed,
right
right?
before that. No, yeah. This is one of the few movies that made me feel uneasy because of how scary it was. I watched it a second time, and I'm like, yeah, there has some cheesy moments, some goofy parts, but your first time watching it, it's pretty creepy. It's
Yeah,
eerie.
If
It's
I had
scary.
to phrase it in a way that to recommend it to people, it's like a
Say, would you like to be terrified?
it's a cohesive it's a cohesive story with multiple horror shorts that just combine very well into one finale. That's how I interpret it. Rewatching it, I was like, damn, that's what it was.
Yeah, I had to watch it. I had to watch it twice to fully understand the plot of the whole movie.
Well, the first. Well, then this is because you remember saying how I was the first time viewing it. I was doing what I normally do with horror movies. I just throw it on in the background, and I was just like folding laundry. And then the opening.
You're like, I'll hear the subtitles.
I don't know how you
No,
guys do
no,
that.
that situation was I was
All
like,
right, my thesis.
I was just
why I
like,
watched this
I was folding towels and I was just like reading.
Oh yeah.
And then that scene with the opening scene kill. I don't want to spoil it until we get to that spoiler portion, but that one scene was like, all right, no more laundry today.
Because we watched it together, and I the opening scene, I was like, I think I know where this is going. And then,
Yeah,
and
you
then
said that
and then
immediately.
they do the reveal. I was like, I don't know where this is going.
Yeah.
Yeah, super, super satisfying.
When you
Just
told me you're like, I think I know where this is going. I was like, really?
really?
Yeah.
I was like,
Yeah.
really?
I did the same thing.
I wasn't wrong, but it was definitely done different.
I guess. What were you thinking where it was gonna go?
Remember, I was like, oh, like it was like based off this urban legend
That it was
where
their
they're,
stage.
like, they're
Oh,
hanging
yeah,
and
yeah,
you hear
yeah.
them thumping against the side of the wall.
Yeah,
I got half of that right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, that's not
So,
bad.
You'll talk more about it in a minute.
Right,
so,
right.
leave it at that. So, strongly recommend. Strongly recommend you.
Yeah.
Yeah!
Let's do my rating
my
system, and then we'll go with the standard boring.
Oh,
rating
if I could have
system.
watched this in theater, I would have loved to watch this in theater.
I would have loved to watch it in theaters. That's why when it was coming out, like they were only showing it in selected theaters, in the Egyptian theater in LA and a Santa Monica Santa Monica theater.
Now,
Damn, I would-
interesting.
I
They had
would
to
have
take it
gone
out of the theaters because of all the seats were covered in piss. I don't blame them. No.
Yeah.
Would you? So that wasn't my rating. But
No, but I was
What?
thinking of
but
like watch
you're
alone
trying, yeah.
or
Watch it. Would you guys?
yeah.
If you had to watch it for the first time or have to recommend it to somebody, watch alone, watch with friends, or don't watch at all. Obviously, we're gonna skip that last portion because
Yeah, I know it's a great movie. Do you?
Yeah.
Obviously, I would say watch it with friends because I would say your first reactions would be funnier if you guys are all watching it together.
I think any's acceptable. I think they're all good.
I
like,
don't know, pick one. Pick
if I
one.
had to pick one, I'm gonna say watch alone because it's more like
I'm gonna say watch alone.
Yeah,
Obviously,
that's-
watch alone, but like there's some scenes
It's
that's
super
like,
fun to
oh my
watch with people.
god, I know, yeah. It's
I
super
think
fun.
it's watch alone if you want to experience it.
If you
like,
wanna- yeah.
truly-
the anxiety.
If you have a friend who's like, oh, I'll watch a scary movie, but I don't want to watch it alone. That's when you bring them
Yeah.
over. Like if it's your second viewing, like, hey, watch this. I think you'll think it's funny.
I think this is funny.
I see this as like a level up from like escape room and stuff was that's like intro horror. This is
Oh,
just
yeah.
like
No, this is
this
straight
is
up
where, like
horror.
this is right above like intermediate horror, like right on the border of like veteran horror. Like it's
This is
so
like
satisfying
if
to watch.
you
It's
are
so
not
original too.
well
like,
versed in horror, and you watch this. This is one of those movies that will keep you up at night.
for a little bit, yeah.
That's true.
Yeah.
All right, so let's get straight into spoilers. Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay,
sounds
yeah.
good.
All right. So, movie starts off with
He's hosting. He's leading.
yeah.
Go
the
for it.
first
Look at
time.
the beauty. Look at the beautiful audience. Yeah.
Say hello. And then
Hola.
we'll do audio
Hello.
only, and no one will understand what we're talking about.
And then I'll dub it. It's a Spanish dub, dude.
That'd be cool. All right, go for
You
it.
can
Go
do
for
all
it.
of our voices.
Yeah.
You're like your voices are fine every time I speak. He's like, "Oh, Raymond, I don't know what I'm talking about.
The worst
I'm
taste
just
in
here
the
to be a
world.
third person." But I don't speak Spanish, so I'm not gonna understand. Like, hey, good job on that dub, Leo. I sound
I
great.
Thank you, buddy. I tried so
I
hard.
should let it be known that I'm like my Spanish is okay. Like I speaking it's pretty bad. Understanding it, I understand most of it.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
when watching something in subtitles, I get too distracted by subtitles to like listen. This time you told me to listen to deliveries, so that's
Yeah,
my
yeah,
second
yeah,
viewing. That's
uh-huh.
what I was doing.
Uh-huh.
So go for it. Go for it.
Movie starts off with this man in an interrogation room. He's being interrogated by 3 people.
Wrong.
It doesn't open with that.
Oh my god, here we go again, dude.
What's
All right,
cold
what-
open? What's the best scene of the movie?
I know, but I thought it was that, then the
No,
cold
it
open.
wasn't.
Cold open. There we go. We
All right,
have
Yeah,
oh man. It was what was the name again?
great question.
Yeah, right.
Juan, I'm pretty sure.
Juan? No, it
No,
wasn't
Juan is the second guy.
No,
No,
that's
the husband.
there's a husband and a wife, okay?
Husband and wife.
We got a husband and a wife. Husband comes in.
Maybe his name was Juan.
I'm pretty sure.
Pretty sure it's
No, it's Juan.
I was like,
Okay.
what?
He comes in from what? Work or something?
Let's say he gets home.
Yeah,
he
he gets
just
home.
gets home. Wife is doing dishes. Or
Or she's sure trying.
she's
Did
sure
it?
trying.
Go for it. I don't
But
gotta talk. I know I talk too
the
much.
sink, you start hearing whispers from the sink. A guy starts telling her a story, and then she's all like, "Hey, honey, I'm hearing voices in the sink." He's all like, "That's probably
Yeah.
just
Them damn crazy pipes.
yeah, it's just the pipes." Like, no, they're voices. He's like, "It's probably just a neighbor." He's like, no, there's voices that are telling me that I'm going to die.
And he's like, yeah, it's probably the construction.
It's probably the yeah. Let's fast forward the night, right? Getting ready to bed. Girl goes into the bathroom. Guy's trying to sleep. He starts hearing thumping on the wall. He thinks that it's the neighbor, you know, because
so it was like 3 a.m, and he's like, oh god damn it. He gets out of bed. He's like buzzing, and then he's like, dude, like we're trying to sleep. Like, why are you doing? Like, it's 3 a.m.
Well, he starts banging on the wall first, and then the thumping keeps going.
And he gets so pissed off, he goes to the neighbors.
He goes to the neighbors door.
Stop doing repairs.
In his tataras, he goes outside in his underwear, and he's like trying to yell at his neighbor, but he like doesn't get an answer. And he's like,
no,
whatever. He tries to go back to bed. His wife's our girlfriend. She's still not there.
Mm-hmm.
He's still hearing the thumpings. It's kind of like, all right, like, well, let's go see what she's up to.
Yeah, well, he
I'm
know
not-
right
said,
there.
he's all, babe, is that you that's making that noise?
Yeah, he
Because
notices
he walks
that-
back in and he hears it like
in the
behind
bathroom.
him, like
Yeah.
as he walks by, and he's like, okay.
So it's coming
And
from the
she
bathroom.
was in the shower, and she opened the door, and we get this amazing shot, fucking beautiful shot that made me stop doing my laundry.
He comes in, he sees his wife just floating in the shower,
Oh God,
floating, and then just swings, hits her head on the wall,
brutally.
and then
Not
hits
just her
her
head, it
and
was her full
whole
body.
body weight into the wall.
Oh my God,
There's blood stains on the wall, and then her body swings back the other way, just slams on the
Beautifully.
ceramic wall,
beautifully setting the
and
tone.
he just stays there,
Like, well,
shocked.
Yeah, like what else do you do?
I don't
'Cause-
know if we can show a screenshot of that scene because
I'll
it's
show it.
so gory.
Just put up a blurred image. And be like, that's probably what it looks
That's
like
what
on
it looks
YouTube.
It's like a drawing. Dude.
Yeah.
So,
And it's like a lot. What a lot of people
Crayon drawing.
complain.
I'm out of red crayon.
What I need to buy more crayons. What a lot of people complain about that scene is his reaction to it. Like his reaction was to run to her and just tell her, "Stop, stop, stop!"
Obviously,
and he's,
those people
he's
have never
grabbing
been in
her.
love.
He's grabbing her, pulling her back. He's like, "Dude, she's floating." Like, but it's like at the same time, it's like he's so in shock. His first reaction is
They
like,
just stop.
Like,
Yeah.
stop, like, I don't
just
want to see you
stop.
hurt.
Yeah, stop.
And he holds her, and her head still just
He just
going into
smacking into the wall,
shower head. Oh
and
my
so
God!
he just kind of like
Wow,
he
Jesus!
covers his ears and he just screams in terror and
Yeah.
Terrified.
terrified.
Yeah.
And then we cut to the interrogation room.
Because he's in jail for obvious
Yeah.
reasons. They were
His
gonna think
girlfriend's
he's-
dead. Nobody else is in the house. You know, you
Yeah.
put one and one together.
Exactly. He's
And-
covering her blood. So
Yep.
So then, what happens next?
so then we have we meet 3 people.
Paranormal investigators.
Paranormal investigators. We don't find out till later, but yeah, paranormal investigators. They are interrogating him. They're like, "Hey, we know it wasn't you
Because how?
because how, right?"
But also, they said there was an incident in America.
In
like,
America,
super
yeah.
similar. It was like 1998.
1990, yeah, like around there, 1997, 1998.
Yeah,
And
which
it's
I wasn't sure. I didn't even bother looking into it. But I was like, do you think that was based off of a real thing?
Like,
I don't
were they
think so.
were they
I don't think
referencing
so.
like?
Well, see
Because
that.
you said this was based off.
Yeah, fun
real
fact.
story.
It's a based off true events,
True
not
events,
a
that's
true
what I
story.
In the
it's a
neighborhood,
true
right?
event. There's
Like-
supposedly a neighborhood in Argentina where it's like a cul-de-sac, and there's multiple houses in that neighborhood that are that experience the same paranormal event. That's pretty much it. Nothing crazy like this shit, you know,
No, I
like.
mean, they'd burn it to the ground if that were the case.
But they're considering it's like one of the most haunted neighborhoods in the world because it's like it's multiple houses that people are experiencing the same paranormal stuff, you know.
Yeah.
But yeah, you know, they're interrogating him. Movie cuts back and forth between past and present. Because then you find out it cuts to Walter. Then we meet Walter, the neighbor. That was
Yeah. 'cause
allegedly
The one that was doing the
they
repairs.
asked him, they're
Yeah.
like, hey, was there anything weird going on? He goes, not really. He's like, there was an accident happened with like a bus. Like
yeah.
my neighbor was doing some repairs like weird at the time of the night.
He's like, your neighbor Walter? He's like, yeah, that's him.
Yeah, he's like, yeah, my neighbor Walter. And they go, well, Walter, like this guy? And they go, yeah, it's him. And they're like, uh-oh. And then they have a flashback because I guess they'd
Yeah.
known him prior to these investigations. And then we go into
Walter's
Walter's story.
Yes, yes, and that was
Which was a great.
The best, in my opinion, the best section of the movie.
Really?
Yeah.
That's pretty cool though because that scene
It
reminded
was-
me
it
a
was
lot of
creepy.
a horror short.
It was
That's why I
creepy.
love it.
I'm
I
not
was
gonna
like,
lie.
damn,
It was
good.
one of the scariest segments for sure.
It was very. It's like it changed the tone from like that. I would say that opening scene is more just gory, but
Gory and shock value.
gory and shock value, but like not like tastefully in my opinion. This next one's more of like anxiety inducing.
Yeah.
It's
That-
like
that's
Scary
the thing where it's
horror,
like,
yeah.
when you would like not go to bed, like that.
Yeah, no.
That whole section of the movie. That's where I was like, yeah, that would keep me up at night if I was
Yeah,
like,
no, definitely.
if, you know.
So do you guys want to describe it, or you guys want to just leave it at that?
Sure. I mean, like,
It's like a being like haunting him, watching him, like a long disfigured
watching
being.
him sleep and stuff. Like he pretty much like starts hearing noises, sees things move. He calls the investigator,
Yeah, he's trying
which
to get
was
that- get a hold of
Doctor. What's
doctor.
her name?
Her
Doctor
name was Mora Albrecht.
Albert.
Okay.
Doctor Albert.
Dr. Albrecht.
So he contacts her. He's like, "Hey, there's things happening in my house." This,
Oh, he
that.
tries to
He
contact
tries.
her.
Yeah, he
And then
calls.
she has like
yeah.
the worst secretary in the
Yeah.
world.
I know.
He was like, "Hey,
Best
listen,
customer service.
I have really bad like
Shit's going down in my house.
so
I
stuff's
haven't
going
slept
crazy
in
right now."
weeks.
And she was like, "Oh, like well, like we're at lunch right now, or like try calling back in like 2 weeks."
After,
And
he
we had like
he
light
calls-
discussion on this. Or
yeah.
I was like, maybe she thinks that there's a lot of crazies that call. Maybe I'm trying to justify.
That's why
it.
I kind of accepted it when you said that. You're like, oh, maybe she just has to like wean out the crazy people.
Yeah, she's like, get proof, otherwise we're not gonna see anything that you say.
and he
Yeah.
records it. So he
Yeah.
sets up a camera before he goes to sleep, and like he
And
falls
if you've
asleep.
ever watched Paranormal Activity, you know having a camera set
Yeah.
up is it's just great ways to get some good
He
scares.
falls asleep and the camera falls over. He wakes up and he's like, I got to check out the footage. And he's looking over the footage. Like he notices that while he's sleeping, there's this tall figure, naked figure, watching over him as he sleeps.
Now, was this before? Because I know it happens after, but doesn't he crawl out from under the bed
Right.
and
yeah.
then he
yeah.
watches them?
Yeah. So he crawls out of the bed, and like he's just watching him, and he's just all like on the floor, just watching this footage, and he's just watching for like hours and stuff. And then that creature walks
I wouldn't say
into the
hours.
closet,
Oh, he's
Where-
talking about fast forwarding
Oh,
3
yeah.
hours.
yeah, where he looks over and the closet is right there.
Yeah,
Kinda
the being went from
Yeah.
under his bed to staring at him directly into his closet, his
Yeah.
little wardrobe.
And so he goes into the closet, opens it up.
No,
There's
he
nothing.
grabs a gun, which if it were me, I would have just started shooting at the
Graham
closet.
was like, I
before-
would have just started blasting
Yeah.
the closet.
Yeah.
So like the
Stray bullets hitting your neighbors.
Always Sunny. He's like, so anyway, I started
Yeah.
blasting. No, but he slowly opens the closet and he's like looking around and there's nothing in there. And I think he goes back to the footage.
Yeah.
And he sees it leave the
It
closet.
leave
and
the
go,
closet,
Go
go-
under his bed again. He's like, nah, I'm not comfortable here. I'm gonna go back to her.
Yeah, I know.
No, doesn't he go back to sleep?
No,
Like,
I'm saying the monster. I'm pretty sure it leaves the closet and
the
goes back
monster.
under the bed.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
There's a scene too where like he like starts hearing noises. He looks under the bed and there's nothing there, so he goes back to sleep. And as the camera zooms out, you see this distorted figure under the bed, like all like folded in half, and it's like, it's terrifying. It's
Yeah.
terrifying.
Yeah.
So then, do you want to conclude the story there, or you want to go? Well, the next one is the little boy. What happens to the little boy next?
Yeah. So,
Little boy
Is
kicks a
it-
soccer
yeah,
ball
he-
into his
he-
yard.
he like falls asleep.
He falls
Like,
asleep.
basically, the creatures around him, and whatever you do when you're afraid.
Let's
you put
just say
yourself
that-
under the blanket,
yeah.
He falls
and
asleep
a hand
somehow.
a hand reaches out for him, and then it kind of cuts away from him,
Yeah.
and
So
then you meet.
he
Or you
wakes
see a
up-
little boy.
He wakes up the next morning with everything like moved around and stuff. One of the coolest things about this movie is that all the paranormal stuff that's happening is happening
Shh,
in
anytime.
plain sight
And
constantly.
yeah.
When Raymond made the joke about the Paranormal Activity movies when we were watching this, I was like, no, yeah, Paranormal Activity would have taken the whole damn movie to get
There's
to this
scenes.
one
There's,
scene. Like,
there's scenes where like the characters are like, "There's a ghost in here," and they're making stuff move, and they're like, "No,
And
it's
then
not."
just
And they
shake.
just you see like a chair. He's like, "Watch, that chair's gonna move," and they look, and the chair just moves, and he's like, "Okay, yeah, this place is haunted."
very,
like,
very much like the Exorcist vibes. So like it's like
Yeah.
it's like no holding
No
back.
hiding.
Yeah, no
Yeah.
rest time. Just
No rest
like
time, yeah,
just-
exactly.
This is what's happening.
which is cool because it's just so like it shows that no one's safe in a
Yeah.
way.
Yeah.
Like no one is hidden from these things, you know.
So then we have a little boy, child neighbors, two little boys. One of them kicks a soccer ball into the
Walter's yard.
Walter's yard.
And the
He
little boy
goes-
goes to retrieve his ball, and,
and
he's
he's
like,
like, "Oh,
I'm
I'm thirsty."
parched. Yeah, I'm playing soccer all day. I'm gonna drink some hose water. You know how you do when you're a kid.
Yeah, definitely.
Faucet water. Yeah.
So he takes a little sips, then he hears Walter. He's like, "Hey, get off my lawn! Don't drink my
Don't
water."
drink the water. Don't
Yeah.
drink the water.
Kid gets frightened. He starts backing away. Gets into the street. Gets hit by a bus.
And that was it was. I'm glad it wasn't like, sometimes like the bus hitting scene is kind of too like cheesy.
Yeah.
Like it was super sudden. I don't know how you guys felt about that.
He
He got blasted, and I was like,
it's
"Oh
a
my
bus
god!"
hitting
Yeah.
like a 5-year-old. Yeah.
No, but he's like, you know what I'm talking about, like how like Mean Girls, like certain things are just like a bus hitting
Yeah,
somebody
yeah, yeah.
is almost comical. I was like, damn, like that was awful. That was ruthless.
It's either played for laughs, like comical, like Mean Girls, or
Yeah.
it's overdone, like Final Destination.
Yeah.
Where they
and
just
there's,
like explode on
splatter
impact.
blood and, yeah,
like
pretty much.
no, a bus is not going to go that fast on a residential street.
It's not gonna obliterate,
Yeah.
pulverize the body, but
But he gets hit, and then don't you hear the Iris? I'm not sure if I'm just
The next scene is the funeral.
internalizing it, but the mother's wailing, right, when she
Yeah.
hears the accident, or is it with the wailing from the services that they overlapped?
well, no, the wailing is from the accident, and then it just transfer over to the
The services of her crying. Oh my god, that was so sad.
And then you see, was it Juan?
No, you see, well,
The
it's
head,
no, it's
And
it's,
his wife, just like in the funeral, he's looking over Walter's house, like, what the hell is he?
like, why did that happen in front of their head? Like, it happened right there,
Yeah.
and then we start seeing someone take photos, right? That's what happens next.
No, not yet.
Yeah.
And then it skips back to present day
Okay.
to where the investigators are like, okay, so then your thing happened right after that accident happened right after that kid, and we need to. No. I'm missing the kid because the kid comes back.
Yeah, so
Uh-huh.
it's a funeral. I think they do a little bit of fast forward. At
It's
that point.
it's because there's a lot of
Yeah. But
It's
basically,
like you could choose a timeline to follow, or you could just hop around the way the story
I'm
does.
telling you, it took me 2 watches to actually like, okay, so this is this timeline, this is that timeline.
So hopefully
I'm
you watch
over
it
here with a
first.
pen and paper, like what's going on.
Yeah, exactly.
It's like the Legend of Zelda like timeline chart. But we skip to a character. His name is
Funes.
not Funes. We don't.
Funes. Funes, no?
Not
The
not
the
yet.
cop?
No, the older guy. What's his name?
Oh, Jano.
Jano. So we meet Jano. He gets a phone call. It's like super late, and it's a buddy of his from the precinct. So this is what's his name? Funes.
Funes.
Funes. So Funes calls him and he's like, "Hey, listen, something happened over here, but I think you're kind of the only one who can deal with it. So do you mind meeting me over at this house?" He's like, "Yeah, like that's fine." Like he just woke him up. He's like, "That's fine. Like I'll be there in an hour." So he gets over there and he's like, "So what'd you find?" He's like, "That." And they cut, and it's the little boy who got hit by a bus.
The corpse of the
corpse
little
of
boy.
the little boy, and he's sitting at the table, much like you are right now.
Decomposing.
Was it
Yeah.
4 days? Was it like 4 days?
About
had
4
passed?
days, yeah.
So his body was all decomposed and his dirty. His nails were all ripped
Yeah.
off. Like
It's
So
it's,
the
they
mom
did-
is like, "Hey, like he shows up. I made him
His favorite cereal.
cereal. I don't know what's going on." And
But,
they're
yeah.
talking about it amongst each other, and he goes, "Hey, listen, we can't leave him here because then people are gonna think she's crazy."
And
And he's
she's
like,
gonna-
"The last
yeah.
time I had to deal with something paranormal, I think it's just best to ignore it." He's like, "So what we're gonna do is we're gonna get the little boy and we're gonna put him back to the graveyard." He's like, "We're gonna make sure he stays there. So get some cement. We're gonna just rebury him. Just tell her like, hey, like." She imagined that, like she's obviously been through some stuff. So we're just
convince
gonna-
her that she didn't see what she saw.
and Funes knew the mom.
Yeah, it was like his ex or something.
Yeah, her name was Alicia.
the
Alicia.
way I interpreted it was that he was the father. With it,
So did I at the beginning, but like the way how he didn't show any remorse towards the kid, it's like, okay, maybe
Yeah,
that's
I didn't see it as a father. I just
oh no, because he's like, I dated her a couple years back.
Yeah.
And then when he says that, that's when the milk gets knocked over.
Yeah.
And
exactly.
it's like it triggered the
he
little
never
boy.
came home with the milk, Dad.
No, but because of that moment, I thought, oh, is this his dad? But they never acknowledged it.
No,
It
I
was
just figured they had a thing. A
I
while back.
also liked that they didn't acknowledge it though. 'Cause I was
Yeah,
like, just leave it a
exactly.
mystery.
But
Just leave the answer.
basically from what you said, it was like, oh, like if that was like your son, and even if you were estranged, it'd be like, that's my kid.
That's my kid.
But he was like,
yeah.
oh, hey, like come over here and check it out. And it's like,
And he's
I don't
like,
think
we
they
gotta
have
put
any-
this kid back in the graveyard. Come on, like it's
Yeah.
like, And after that, like they're just arguing, and like the kid had like a glass of milk in front of him, and then like as they're arguing, the milk just kind of like tips over,
Yeah.
Yeah.
and they're like, the kid moved, like his hands are all like in different positions. He's like, the kid moved, so it's like there's something up with this, On top of that, you have like okay, let's just put him in the grave, like.
Yeah, so they.
But let's put
they
him
were
in the
like, "Hey, we
freezer
can't-"
first.
They were like, we can't do anything because we have to make arrangements with the cemetery to let them know that we're going to be transferring the body over.
And they're talking in the other room,
Yeah,
right?
so then they have to wait for the night to finish. They have to
Like 24 hours or
yeah,
some shit.
less than 24.
So
but
they're like, let's
definitely a
put him
while.
in the cooler in the backyard for now.
Well, no,
Yeah.
after
No?
that,
His friend, the little boy's friend, was hopped the fence and started taking toys from the backyard.
Oh yeah,
And
that's
then he
right.
sees the corpse in the sliding door.
And as
Yeah, and
yeah,
before that, you do meet the paranormal investigator. She's taking pictures outside of
Walter's house. That's right.
and then he's like, "Hey, you're investigating something weird. I got something weird going on.
It's
And
weird.
then the
that
house
he-
in front of
yeah,
the
can
house.
you check it
yeah.
out?" So they go into the thing that they start looking at the little boy. That's when the little boy's friend hops over the fence and he starts taking the toys. Either they were his or he's just like, he's not going to be using them anymore.
Exactly, yeah, I know.
But anyway, he's taking them and then he sees the little boy through the window.
And the
And
little
the little
boy's
boy-
corpse is just kind of like looking, like you see his neck just kind of turning. His eye, I didn't notice this, but like
His eye.
as he's turning, his eyeball is also turning like separately from it. I was like, oh my god, the detail in that mannequin, bro. Like that's wild, you
It
know.
wasn't a mannequin. It was a little boy. He had a name. But
Which we haven't
we
said
should
once.
wrap up real quick, take a
Yeah,
quick break, and
pause.
then we're gonna go ahead and finish up with the rest of this video in just a moment.
Yeah, let's do it.
All right,
But just remember where we're at, and we will see you guys in a bit.
we're right back.
Bye.
Bye. Yes.
So where do we left off? Two investigators are investigating the death of the little boy.
Yep.
And Walter's haunted house.
Yep.
And
And the little boy crashes the investigation.
yeah.
And they're like, all right, someone was here. They find the little kid's backpack. Like, obviously he left because, like, why wouldn't
Corpse.
you?
Exactly. Yeah.
Um,
Obviously he ran.
So he
screaming.
leaves. They find his backpack. And they go,
Uh-huh.
all right, listen, we got to do this quick because we don't want anyone else, like, coming by and checking this stuff out.
Mhm.
So they move the body into a freezer just so it's easier to hide and just transfer so no one can see through the window. What they didn't know was they were being recorded by the little boy. The little boy was over the fence, recorded them moving the body. And that's going to play later on in the
It's
film.
not. Yeah, I thought it was gonna play a bigger part, but it doesn't play.
It was a
that.
very big
does.
part. It happens off screen, but it was very important.
And I think it wasn't necessary to put it on screen. So
Yeah.
because it was a good review.
Kind of.
We'll talk about it when we get there.
Anyways, as they put the little boy into the freezer, Funes, he's like, "Wait, did you hear that?" And he puts his ear into the freezer, and you hear the little boy crying.
And he's like, it's cold in here.
Yeah, he's just crying. No, he's just
Sobbing,
wailing in
yeah,
there,
yeah,
and then you just see someone just like a bang in the freezer, and they just freak out. And we're like, "Okay, forget the kid. We're taking the whole freezer to the graveyard."
And then they put a pot on top of it.
I know that which is crazy because
Funny.
it's like wow, you know, like
There's a lot of like small moments of humor that really bring the movie
Give you
together.
yes.
It's not like
Yeah.
overbearing like in some horror movies. There's like, oh, like, well, I guess we're dealing with this now, or
Yeah.
like we got to take the whole fridge. They're
Yeah,
just little
exactly.
things like when they put the potted plant over it because of the
just
little boy
in case the
just
little
kicked the
boy
whole
gets
thing.
out.
Yeah.
And then after that, we skip back into the interrogation scene, and that's when they explain. They're like, okay, so what happened with your wife? We have these other events happening right now, and we think that they're all connected somehow. So we're gonna need your permission to go over to your house. We already got the permission of the other neighbors.
Yeah, he's like, just sign here. We're gonna
Mm-hmm.
go into your house. We're gonna stay there for a few days. We're just gonna investigate what's going on. We're gonna try and
Mm-hmm.
figure out what's happening.
And then we just kind of like, I feel like that's where the movie actually begins.
Oh, yeah.
It goes
You know?
from like 10 to 11.
Yeah, so then it's just present day from then on, you know. So we have the cop and I think was he Russian, American?
You said he was American with a really
I
bad
thought he
Spanish
was
accent.
American, but like
His name is something really unique.
his name is like Ukrainian or something.
Rosenlock.
Rosentalk.
Yeah.
Rosentalk, yeah.
Because I mean, it wasn't until you point out like, oh, he's really bad Hispanic.
because he kept talking about like the
Spanish.
American events, the American, and I was like, he's probably from America, you know?
Or he's supposed to be.
Yeah, but you know, I
Well,
guess
yeah,
he's
yeah.
like Russian or something. So
When-
we have
on the second rewatch him pointing out like listening to the actual delivery of stuff. I was like, oh wow, he is not speaking good Spanish.
no, dude, no,
Like he
not
tried
at
his
all.
best.
Yeah,
And then,
I was saying like he was like the most unnecessary character because
He
was
was a
just
body.
there.
He was a body. To,
Yeah, he was just
Yeah.
there in the investigation room, and they go, oh yeah, like this guy, and they don't explain him at all, and then they start the investigation like he's here too, and it's like
So then,
Okay.
So just for the audience right now, so they have a video. So in case you didn't watch the movie, they're going to be investigating 3 houses, right?
yeah,
Yeah.
It's
simultaneously,
Walters, the Juan's,
Juan's.
the one his wife passed, and then
little boys.
little boys.
Uh-huh.
So they're gonna bunk up into each individual house and see what paranormal activities happen.
And they're just
So-
gonna spend like a night there, just getting evidence. What they
So-
say.
yeah,
Where is everybody? So the doctor,
the doctor and the cop, or which doctor?
the doctor that's the
girl?
paranormal expert. Yes,
Yeah, she is in
Walter's house.
Juan's.
No.
Juan's
in
house.
Juan's house.
Juan's house.
she's in Juan's house.
Jano is in
The cop.
Walter's house.
Is in Walter's house with somebody else, with the other gentleman.
No,
The one
no,
with
no,
the-
no, no. Ah.
Quano is by himself.
Oh,
And
Hana's in
then-
the little boy's house.
Yeah,
See, that's why I'm going. That's why I'm clarifying.
Okay.
and then Funes and
And
Rosen-
Rosenthal,
Rosenthal
he's
was,
there in Walter's
in
house.
Walter's house.
Because
Okay.
like
they,
the epicenter, basically.
Yeah.
Because they had to separate. They had to be able to see what's going on around the same time. So they're just like watching, and they're all within the same block, so they feel secure enough to do this. So then what happens? Go for it.
No. Hold on, my bad. Juan and Rosentoff,
Juan is in jail.
Funes?
and Rosentoff, they're in Juan's house.
No.
Yes.
Later they are.
The
They start off in separate. Remember, we have the
Albrecht is in Juan's house because she's
you're
watching the
right,
crack.
You're right.
Yeah.
Yeah, the crack. I forgot about the crack. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Anyway.
It's a bad neighborhood.
Alright.
so,
Yeah, okay.
Hopefully that makes sense. So
And
Diagram.
yeah,
Yeah,
and
throw a
then,
chart up, I
yeah.
don't know.
So they are. So let's just skip forward because we don't have
If it sounds
anything.
confusing, it was just as confusing. watching
Let's just talk about some scenes that popped out from this overall like
cluster of just
yeah.
horrifying things you see.
One of the scenes that popped out was let's start with Janos when he's all like when the cop calls him, he's like, "There's some terrifying shit happening in this apartment. What is going on?"
No, he's like,
He's like, "I'm done. I'm out of here." He's like,
I don't want to do this anymore. And he's like, hey, just
you-
curious, like, where are you
where
at right
Where are
now?
you calling from right now?
He's like, I'm in the house, dude. And he's like, no, like from where in the house?
What
Like,
part of the
I'm in the kitchen.
He's like,
and
"Well,
he's
I
like,
see you
oh.
by the window."
He's like, yeah. He's like, but like I kind of see you by the window. And he's like looking over.
He's like looking over. There's like a figure. He looks over this side. The figure disappears. Looks back. He's still there, and it just keeps playing back and forth. And like the camera's kind of like unfocused.
Yeah.
So you can't really tell if it's a person or some being, you know.
Yeah.
And then he kind of goes like that. It's just in your face, you know. And that's the end of Jono, pretty much.
Yeah.
yeah.
Over
Keep
on the
going.
other side was Funes Pryor with the other doctor.
Wasn't tough.
And they're kind of like, look how crazy stuff is. Like, look at all the silverware. It's all just like hanging there. And then for whatever reason, the doctor was like, I'm gonna just kind of mess with it. So he's like messing
He's
around
like,
with it.
whoa.
Yeah, like, look how cool this is. And he gets stabbed, and they hear like sucking.
Slurping, yeah.
And he's like, you hear that? Like something's sucking my blood right now. And he's like,
Yeah.
okay, like should we stop it?
He pulls out a
So
gun.
yeah, he pulls out a gun. He's like, no, don't shoot it.
He's like,
Open
open
it.
it.
He's
Open it.
like-
Why?
It was like just if you hear noise, just shoot at that general area. But I guess they have to be quiet because they're investigating 3 homes out of an entire neighborhood, and they obviously don't want to bring too much attention to themselves.
Right. And then after that, like they.
But he, after the phone call, it cuts out, and he goes back to the other doctor, and he's like, "Hey, I found it." He
Yeah.
goes, "What?" He's like, "Yeah." He's like, "Check under the bed," and he looks under the bed. He's like, "There's nothing there." He's like, "No, like
Come over
keep
here on
looking,
the
keep
this
looking.
side, yeah.
Look over here." He looks over there, and he sees like a creature is like folded in half. There's like 2 of them down there,
Yeah, it's like their feet right here and their head is in there.
like
it's
right
like
next to each other, like
it's
right
it's
yoke.
on
Yeah.
Earth. It's that. It's
like-
literally that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Very
It's-
unnerving. But he's like, nope, I'm done. I'm just gonna leave.
Yeah,
So
dude.
he goes over to the
yeah.
other doctor,
Rose
Albrecht.
Albrecht.
He goes
uh-huh.
over here. He's like, look, like I already was talking to Jano, or what is it?
Yeah, I was talking to Jano.
Yeah.
Oh no, because she went over to her once. Oh no, he goes to Jano.
Yeah.
He's like, let me go check on Jano. He goes to Jano, and he finds him inside a cabinet,
Yeah.
Yeah. on the
trying to
back
crawl
side.
out, and his eyes are all bloody. You know, because I guess like when that thing appeared in the window, it shattered the window, and his
Yeah. Shattered
glasses
the glass.
got yeah.
Like blinded him.
So
then
he gets freaked out. He goes over to Albrecht. He's like, I found Jano. He's like in this little cupboard. He's all bloodied up. He's saying these
He's
things.
like, I don't want to do this anymore.
And then she's like, that's not him. Don't believe anything you're seeing tonight. What she says. He's
Yeah.
like, no, we
And
got
she's
to
the expert.
yeah. And then
I would
and
have
then
believed her too.
she's also investigating this crack on the wall, and inside the crack is allegedly Walter. Inside the crack with his eyes all glowing. It's like this little creature in the crack.
Yeah.
As he's talking to her, like you see his hand grab her head. and
No,
just-
so there's a weird. This is one thing I didn't like about the movie was like the weird like explanation. It's very unique.
The tap
which
water?
I
It
enjoy.
has to justify it somehow. Though. That's
That's the
Yeah.
thing.
You're talking about
so
the tap water?
no,
Yeah.
you know, the
So
top water
the-
and how they
these
explain the
aren't-
beings.
these aren't
Demons.
Ghosts.
ghosts.
Uh-huh.
They're not ghosts.
They're fifth dimensional beings. They're like apparitions.
That travel microscopically.
And while they're traveling microscopically, they found out that they travel through water, which kind of ties back to the sink at the beginning of the film. It ties back to the little boy who was
Little
drinking
boy
out the
who's
tap
drinking
water.
out the tap water.
Because the woman, it was the sink, and then she went to go shower.
Right.
So she was exposed to water.
Mhm.
The little boy was exposed to water, which is why he came back. As far as Walter, I don't know how he was there for so long.
It was like the epicenter.
Without he was the epicenter. He was surviving for so long without water. One could assume because it seems that's how they like
had it stuff for weeks.
possess you. Yeah. So it was a weird explanation where she's like, yeah, it's microscopic beings from a fifth dimension. They're traveling in here. They're possessing people.
What was it? Was it the fifth dimension or was it like the fourth
dimension?
Fourth dimension.
I honestly don't remember.
Whatever dimension, they were just from another dimension or something like that.
Because I want to talk about that after because that's such a unique concept. And so go ahead.
But it was a weird like, we're gonna info dump this on you like right now.
Mm-hmm.
Right at the very end.
Very abruptly, a hand comes out, snaps her neck, and one thing we don't mention about Funes, one, he's the only character who's there where it makes sense.
Yeah.
Everyone else like, we're gonna investigate this. He's like, I don't want to be here, but I'm already
Only
here.
logical characters.
I got heart problems. Like I have a hearing aid. Like I don't want to be here.
So he starts getting
having a heart attack.
Yeah.
A creature crawls out from under the wall, and it like starts crawling toward him, and it makes that heart attack a lot worse. He sees Alicia again.
Well, he runs out, goes to their house, sees Alicia again.
She comes in there.
Oh, she comes in there.
She comes in there, and he's like, "Hey, listen, I'm not doing good. We got to get out of here. Like, can you take me to the hospital?" And she's like, "You lied to me."
There you go.
Yeah, and this is where that recording comes back. Very perfect timing.
Yeah, so she's like,
which is the weirdest thing.
Like, you made me think I was crazy. You guys took my baby. Like,
and you covered him with concrete. Like
you covered him with concrete.
You put him in the freezer. You know.
Yeah.
Not only is she just like on that like
denial.
No, it's like a grieving mother, like to that
Mm-hmm.
degree, and then find out your son like resurrected himself, and it's implied that she's religious.
Yeah.
So it's like you stalked my son who came back from the dead to see me, like,
I know, yeah.
And it becomes this like really like intense situation, very scary immediately.
Well, he's also having a
heart attack.
Yeah.
He's got hearing aids.
He got enough stress going on,
I know.
and he's like, "Listen, like I did it for you." He's like, "I'll explain everything. Can you just take me to the hospital?"
And she's like, "Fine, I guess."
Yeah, she's like, "All right, fine." He's like, "But is it cool if you like, you know?"
But take shotgun because kids
take
in the
shotgun,
back.
Yeah, I got the baby with me, and he's
He
like,
goes in the car and the dead kid is in the back seat.
he's like, I'm good.
I'll drive myself.
Yeah,
that was funny too. He's like, I'm good.
He
I'm
has
just gonna
so
drive
many
myself.
good humor moments.
Yeah, like I said, it's a very like
Yeah.
subtle like humor that they throw in the movie that makes it like so enjoyable.
Yeah.
And then he just drives off.
No,
Stops.
he sits down, and if you've ever seen the trailer of the movie Smile,
Yeah,
there's a very
Oh,
similar
that's
scene.
right, yeah.
One of the coolest like scares in the movie.
We
hands
can't say
down.
for sure.
It
but
is
we
for
think-
sure. It is for
we
sure.
can't say for sure.
This movie came out 3 years before Smile.
I understand that, but we can't say for sure.
Are you kidding me?
Legally speaking, we can't be like they copied them.
Of course they did. What do you mean?
It was slightly different.
It was
but,
no. I'm just saying
This
like,
was better. This was
No,
better
yeah, 'cause
than
it was-
Smile.
Yeah.
It was a lot better, but I'm saying we can't say like, oh, Smile copied them.
I say it may have taken inspiration from this scare because it was pretty good. We got the doctor, the female
Albrecht,
doctor,
yeah,
Albrecht,
she runs out,
running
her
from a
neck's all
distance.
messed up.
Yeah, but you don't see it. You
Contorted.
see a
Oh,
person.
man.
You just see
It's
it. My
good.
bad. You see a person running towards the car, and it's kind of like unfocused. So you're like, oh, it's somebody running from the car. But then as the figure's getting closer, you see like it's the lady with like distorted neck,
Yeah.
just like running.
And
I
she
like
says something along the lines of like,
Yeah.
they're torturing us,
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're torturing us.
and he's like, cool, I'm out of here.
Yes, dude. Yeah, I'm a bail, dude. I'm out of here, dude.
He drives out, and then he gets a call on his walkie from one of his officers.
Yeah.
He's like, hey, like, where are you? Like,
We just arrived at the houses.
yeah, he's like, we just got to the houses. Like, I see your friend.
And he's like, "Go home."
yeah, he's like,
Jano's there, and,
Yeah.
and the doctor's there. He's like, what are you doing there? Just go home.
He's like, yeah, he's like, I
Just
don't know. He's like, just leave. And he's like, I don't know. Like, they're
acting kind of
kinda
weird. Yeah.
Yeah, something's
like-
wrong with his eyes.
Like, he's just standing there, and he's like, no, dude, listen,
It's
go
in
home.
order.
Go
Leave.
home.
I know.
And he's like, oh, okay. And then that's kind of when he has that epiphany. He's like, if I don't stop this now,
no one will.
it's gonna spread.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I don't know. That scene was just so funny.
Yeah, I know.
It reminds me of a friend. I mentioned him while we were watching. I was like, it's like when you try and talk to him and he just keeps explaining the
Yeah,
one thing.
the
And
one
it's like,
thing,
no,
you're
like, we're moving on. We're not talking about this anymore. And he's like, yeah, but like this. And he's like, no,
dude.
leave.
And
I'm
then from
telling
there,
you, you're in danger.
Yeah.
from then, he goes back to the house of the little boy, right? And he's like, I'm gonna burn this whole place.
Light
to
this
the ground.
bitch up. He's gonna-
But when he goes in, he finds out that the little boy's spirit is still roaming the house because he finds him like inside his own bedroom. And
Yeah.
Yeah,
the
look.
door shuts by itself. So he's like, okay, this little boy is still well and alive. Not well alive, well, but it's like still.
He's not
Here,
well or
yeah.
alive.
he goes and throws gasoline.
And but
on
you
it,
find
and
out
he
that
just gets out
Alicia
the door,
hung
like-
herself too.
Yeah. So Alicia had hung herself.
And then
Whether she was possessed, whether she just
Who
couldn't
knows?
deal with the grief.
Who
Probably
knows?
was
She's
a-
dead.
Yeah, she has a horrible mental state
So
right there.
he just decides to burn the house.
He's like, all right, let's burn her too.
Yeah.
lights
Good
the
measure.
house on fire, and then he turns around. You see Jano's spirit, I guess, right next to him, like looking at the house as it's burning.
No, I love that scene. That was a perfect little like accent scare. Like
Yeah,
a little,
because
like
he
a
lights
Yeah.
little,
the he lights the match.
lights the match
the
and it
wind,
blows out instantly.
yeah.
Yeah.
And then he does it again, and you see Janos go.
Yeah.
And he
Oh,
looks,
yeah.
yeah, but he's looking at it from a different perspective. You think it's the
Yeah.
wind, and it's just him.
It's
Like,
just Jano just blowing out the
Yeah.
candle.
He's like, no.
Stop it, man.
and he gets freaked out, pulls out his gun, and shoots the
Shoots the
spark.
gas. Yeah,
Which I don't know if you guys ever seen Mythbusters. I'm pretty sure that doesn't work.
it doesn't.
No.
Anyways,
Movie magic.
Movie-
Everything
mo-
catches
yeah.
on fire. We flash forward to
a year.
A year
A
later,
year in
which
the
I
future.
didn't catch the first time I
Yeah.
watched it.
We're still with Juan in jail, apparently.
Yeah, he's just stuck there.
Just, I mean,
Yeah.
And they're like, "Hey, so this whole thing happened with your wife. Like, we're
nice.
still
remember those
yeah,
three people you talked to? And he goes, kinda. Like that was like a while back.
Yeah,
And he goes, yeah. So
they're all dead.
they're all dead.
And this cop
This
is on
cop
the run,
this cop lit everything on fire, and he killed them all.
but he's missing.
Yeah, he's like, we don't know where he's at, but do you recognize him? He goes, yeah, like he was at the funeral. He's
I
like,
think he was the ex of my old neighbor
yeah, and, then,
Yeah.
and he's like,
because we suspect he might have something to do with the disappearances.
He's
Yeah.
all like, "Did that guy came with you guys?"
yeah, he's like, which is weird. I'll get into that a little bit. But he's like,
Yeah.
hey, like that guy's with you, right? And they go, what do you mean? They look back and there's nobody there. And he goes,
yeah.
and he looks at the photos and he gets the photo of
Rosentoff? No, what's his name again?
Picture.
Rosenstock.
Rosentock.
He gets picture of Rosenstock. Like this guy, he's right behind you guys.
Right,
But his face is all burned up.
Yeah, which is like, that should be your first red flag. He's
Well,
like,
yeah,
you
dude.
guys brought him, right? Like that burn victim.
Not
like,
perfect. The third degree burn
The guy who
victim?
hasn't talked this entire hour you've been here. He's
Yeah.
with you. And they go, no. Like what do you mean? They look over, and the chair slightly moves,
Mhm.
and then it gets thrown
flung at the.
Flung
flung
at the
toward the camera.
Movie ends.
Movie ends
Credits
abruptly. I didn't like the ending.
Yeah, because
It was
how do you end
cheesy.
it, though,
It
you know?
was cheesy.
Like-
Like it's almost like a little tiny last scared for the audience, kind of like a Paranormal Activity. When she like jumps at the camera towards the end.
Depending on which ending you see, yeah.
That's true. Yeah.
But it's like he was the least important character in my opinion.
Mhm.
And then they were like, oh, like he's a ghost now, and it's like okay. And then the jump scare, like a film with so many fantastic scares,
Yeah.
to end it with
That
a
was the
jump scare.
weakest one. That
Yeah.
was the
To end it with
weakest
a
one.
jump scare, and then the
It hurt it.
CG they used for the it looked like it was like
Yeah.
Blender. Like
See,
they
Yeah.
my problem with this director is that he comes up with great scenes. In this movie, I believe it's his best put together movie. He does have another movie, right? That we're about to see.
Will be the next video.
Yeah.
But same thing. There's some great scenes in that movie, but like the ending, it just kind of like, what the hell happened? Like
Yeah.
it's really abrupt, and it's really
well,
like,
I hit the runtime.
yeah, let's
let's
wrap
just
it up,
end it,
wrap it
yeah.
up,
Honestly, no, but like the movie ending on just like a chair like moving would have been enough to be like just end.
I
it.
feel like
Yeah.
I
Yeah,
feel
just
like I
like,
feel like that would have been cool.
like-
Where it's like,
They didn't. Need,
who's
they
that
didn't need
guy?
the-
Who's that guy over there? And
Like-
you see a chair, and I feel like if it would have just like moved like that,
Yeah.
it would have been
And
perfect.
it just look at their either end hard cut there into the credits, or look at their expressions like
or like
yeah, like both of your friends just looking at that, and the
If-
chair
if
just
you
kind of
have-
moves. Perfect. Yeah,
Here's
that's,
how- here's
that's
how
a
you should
perfect
end it.
ending, I think.
if they led into the whole like perspective thing, right? Where he goes, that guy right there, and then you see like them looking back, and
the
it
camera
has the camera
moves,
go, and then
Goes
just as
over
it
the
passes one person,
characters, and you see
Yeah.
a perfect.
That
Yeah,
would-
there you go. That'd be cool. That'd
we
be
fixed
cool.
your movie.
But it's unfocused. It's unfocused. So it's like as the camera moves right there, you see an unfocused figure,
Yeah,
like a silhouette, and then it ends.
like in his suit, but it's like you kind of see the char, and you kind of see like the
perfect.
demonic glowing
yeah,
eyes.
yeah, perfect.
Yeah.
they all
Amazing.
have changed the perspective.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Alternate ending.
So
Perfect.
let's take a
Call 'em
breather
up.
right
Can
here,
you-
and then let's start going straight into the review or like the review, but like
Let's
our
just
opinions.
give our ratings right now.
Oh yeah, but
Yeah.
still there's stuff I want to talk about still, like just for funsies. But
Alright.
rating wise, you wanted to go for? I'll go first. I don't mind. I've been arguing with myself from like an 8.5 to a 9, because my biggest knocks in the film are it's hard to follow. Like that's just, unfortunately.
On your first watch, it's hard to follow.
Even on the
Like,
second
and
watch.
I see.
That's-
I saw
I
it in
didn't have problems
Spanish,
with
so
it.
it's like it's not like I wasn't paying attention. Like I was full invested, and even I had a hard time following.
Yeah, and well, like trying to explain it to someone like we just did.
Yeah.
It was like, damn,
for
this shit
sure
was
there
hard.
Three different stories from three different people.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I
you
was
saw
trying
that
my
right
best.
there.
Yeah. So that's just one thing because I feel like it was a reason. It's a way to get multiple horror shorts into one movie. That's the way they described it early on. And horror does a great job of excelling in like a short format
Yeah.
because you don't need an over explanation. You just
Yeah.
need to establish the scare.
That's
much,
where it
yeah.
lost me was the over explanation.
Yeah.
Where they're like, oh, it's microscopic like entities that are
And that is
inhabiting
my-
the earth. And I was like, you didn't need that. Like, I would have just preferred if it was like, you know, like less is
But-
more. It's like, hey, like this is just happening.
So that's another thing too. Like, I like that aspect of it, but I didn't like the over explanation of it. It's really
Yeah.
weird. It's just it sucks because it exists in this issue, this middle ground where it's going to be an issue. It's like by explaining that they're interdimensional beings, you now have defeated the cliche of it being a ghost
Yeah.
story, which
That's
makes
true,
it
yeah.
elevates it to that much cooler. But then you over explained it, and now I kind of know like okay, they're just like water microscopic beings that
Yeah.
can infest you somehow. So like no, you know what I mean. So that's why I'm like teetering on that. I'll go 8.7. There you go.
8.7.
It's super good. Rewatching it was like super satisfying. And I just I want to talk about foreign films after, but I'll let you guys talk about your ratings now.
Go ahead.
I'd give it a solid.
3.10.
It just wasn't my thing, dude. Who picked this
I don't
movie?
even like horror movies.
Who picked this stupid movie? No, I go for 8.5. Like a solid 8.5. Yep. What about you, Raymond?
I want to give it an 8.5, but I'm going to move it down to an 8, mostly because of
I thought this
accessibility.
guy was gonna say like a 6. I was like,
No,
come on, bro.
I know.
I
I
think
That's fine. That's
I think if
great.
this movie was more widely available, I'd be like, yeah, like 8.5, like everybody go watch this. But because of it's
Wait, that's
like,
your reason why you give it an 8 instead of an 8.5?
Yeah.
That's a stupid reason. It's a great movie.
No,
it's a
Let-
fantastic
let-
movie.
let
I'm,
him
I'm
explain
saying
it.
it's
We're
hard.
gonna
It's
give it a-
hard to recommend this to anyone because of how it's behind paywalls or it's
So
behind.
slash it half a
subscriptions.
point?
Yeah.
It's not their fault. It's
No. But I'm saying like I can't tell everyone like, oh hey, go watch this movie, spend $3 on it. Like it's
Imagine
fantastic.
a talk to me came out. And you're like, it's a great movie, but it's like it's not available anywhere. You're like, oh, it's half a point off because I can't really. Well, come on, man.
Hey, he's talking about American audiences now.
Yeah.
Fine, fair enough. You have
Yeah,
a fair
like-
point. All right, go
Yeah.
ahead. Go ahead.
Like I said, just watch the movie. Especially if you have Shutter, just watch the movie. You do have to read, but it's worth it. It's 100% worth
If
watching.
you enjoy horror, absolutely
Yeah.
watch this movie.
Mm-hmm.
And if you dislike it, I'm sorry, but like I don't think there's any way you're gonna dislike it.
Unless you don't
Hopefully
like horror
watched it
movies.
before we already reviewed the whole damn thing.
Spoil it, the whole
Yeah.
thing.
But
Even then, like us talking about the
doesn't
film,
do it justice.
Yeah. It's
Like-
the
It's fun. It's
atmosphere.
it's great.
the effects. It's the creature design. Everything was just.
I would say 80% of the movie was practical. Like the little boy, the shower
It's just
scene.
the
like,
final
it's
CG being
just-
so weak.
Yeah,
it's
like-
literally just that. And you
It
can't really
sucks
knock it too
when
much.
when they use CG. The CG is weird and
Yeah.
weak, you know. But most of the time, like you don't have to worry about it because most of the effects is practical.
Yeah.
So now I'm just gonna talk about stuff for fun because I'm curious as your guys' reaction because this is a foreign film. Like, did you watch it on your initial watch with the subtitles? Or you just had no subtitles. You just listened to it in Spanish.
I had subtitles, but subtitles in Spanish.
Oh, okay. No, that's fine. That makes sense. though.
So yeah.
But then, how was it for you? Because you were afraid that watching this movie with subtitles on was gonna take away from the experience. So did it affect you at all?
Not really. So like, I'm pretty good at like reading while watching the movie.
Yeah.
But my whole thing was like, oh, like, what if I'm not in the mood to read? Like, am I still gonna enjoy the movie as much? And like when I talked to you about it prior before we watched the movie,
Yeah.
you were like, oh yeah, like it'll invest you. And then
Yeah,
by the
you're gonna be into
time
it.
stuff starts happening, like you're already gonna be like, all right, like let's just watch this all. Let's just watch it all
Yeah.
through.
Because it
And then
peaks.
that is pretty much what happened.
Yeah, it peaks. It slows down a bit, but not enough to make
Lose
you
your-
yeah.
lose
It
your
slows down on
interest.
scares, but it ramps up in storytelling.
I think
Yeah.
it's that opening shot being so
Shock.
yes, you're like, what is this? Like, what just happened?
Yeah.
I think that's what keeps you invested until.
But then
you're like,
the whole time that it's
at
like,
peace.
oh, we're gonna go back in time. I think that's what loses most people. Where it's like, okay, so that initial horror, like shocking scene happened. Let's go back in time to explain the story about the neighbor who had, you know, like, and then let's jump back in, you know. So
and
I
I
feel
don't.
Like
I
that's
generally
what,
hate that. I hate that cliche. I think of Morty from Rick and Morty, where he's like, "Start your movies where they begin." Like
Oh,
that whole
yeah,
scene.
yeah.
But I didn't mind it too much in this because it was still a very just super good movie.
Yeah.
like, and I don't know about you guys, but have you guys watched? How many other horror, like foreign films have you seen with subtitles?
A lot,
Like
dude.
Korean, like other
Korean, Spanish, Thai,
Now I've noticed
Japanese.
that American audiences specifically who bother to watch subtitled in their original language of movies, they tend to find them more scarier. I don't know if you noticed that too. I remember everyone was popping off when Veronica came out.
I hated that movie.
No, but did
I
you
know a lot of
see the
people were talking
audience
about it.
reaction? Like people were talking like praising.
Yeah,
That's why I
people were
went to go see
praising
it.
it. Yeah.
Yeah.
What did you think about that one?
That's all right.
It was all right, but not like nothing crazy.
No, yeah, but I'm saying that I don't know if it's because people are reading it. Like I
don't know, dude.
Or it's like we're like, oh, like here's a real small subtitle. Like, what are they saying? And then just like jump scare, and it's like, oh my god, I wasn't expecting.
Maybe,
It.
dude, I
Because
don't know.
I feel like the more the subtitles averts their attention enough that when the cheap jump scares come out, they feel more.
I don't take it that way. I take it as like they're reading it how like when you read a book, you know, you're reading it in your own like voice and your own like delivery versus where you're listening to the actual audio being presented in front of you. I think that's what elevates it. Have you seen The Wailing? I want to talk about that at some point. But that movie's another one that's like it's it's South Korean, right?
The Wailing, The Sadness, Train to Busan.
I didn't get a chance. Yeah, but I'm like, all of those movies are like really
They're
good.
super good.
Yeah, so I'm just like,
and it's just that small barrier of subtitles that are preventing people from watching these movies. Just read. Just like
right.
they're so.
you haven't read
enjoyable.
since high school. Just read a movie. It's 100% worth it.
So like when.
But we do got to wrap up though.
Oh, okay, all right.
We do gotta wrap it up, Bobby. You got excited, man.
God, there's a lot of stuff I want to talk about.
You felt the thing. You felt the table get bumped up.
I know, dude.
Yeah, there's a bunch of other stuff I want to talk about, but we'll probably call it here. So.
All right, man. So yeah, this has been another great episode of Midnight Madness, Mayhem.
There it is.
You're joking, right?
I know.
Trademark.
A year and a half later. All right,
All
guys.
right, that's everything. Thank you for watching. Thank you for listening. Don't forget to subscribe, like the video.
On X, Instagram, Facebook. Just kidding. We don't have Facebook.
Bye.
Bye.